Have you noticed that the first 30 minutes after you wake up seem to set the tone for your entire day, whether you like it or not? I noticed it for years without understanding why. I just thought some mornings were good mornings and some weren't, like it was the weather. There's actual research on what happens hormonally in that window right after you wake up, and it's not what most men would guess. I'll walk you through exactly what's happening in your body during that half hour, and why more men my age have started drinking one specific thing during it instead of waiting until after breakfast. But first, I want to tell you why I even started paying attention to timing in the first place, because I think you'll recognize the feeling. I'm 83. For years in my 70s, I'd wake up already tired, like I hadn't slept at all, and it would take me most of the morning to feel like myself. I blamed my mattress. I blamed my age. I never once thought to ask what my body was actually doing chemically in that first half hour, because nobody had ever explained that there was anything to ask about. Now my mornings look completely different. I'm up, alert, and moving within minutes, not groggy, not dragging myself through the motions. I do my stretches, I walk the dog, and by the time most people are still waking up, I've already had the most productive part of my day. That's not luck. That's not just good genes at 83. It's understanding what my body needed in that window and finally giving it to me. So let's talk about what's actually happening in your body first thing in the morning, because this is the part almost nobody explains. You've probably felt the pattern. Energy that used to carry you through a whole day now fades early, or something more personal has started feeling less dependable than it used to. You tell yourself it's stress. Then you tell yourself it's just age. Eventually you stop asking why, because the not knowing feels less exhausting than chasing an answer nobody seems to have. Here's the part that changes everything once you hear it. Right when you wake up, your body releases a burst of a hormone called cortisol. It's supposed to happen. It's what gets you moving, alert, ready for the day. But cortisol and testosterone have what researchers describe as an inverse relationship in that window. When cortisol runs too high for too long in the morning, it can work against the very hormone your body needs for energy, drive, and the blood flow response that depends on it. And here's the layer under that layer. Testosterone itself follows its own daily rhythm, peaking in the early morning hours and declining as the day goes on. If cortisol is spiking uncontrolled right on top of that natural testosterone peak, you're essentially working against your own body's best hormonal window instead of with it. That's the piece nobody explains in a rushed appointment. It's not just low testosterone. It's what's happening to that testosterone in the specific 30 to 60-minute window after you open your eyes. A window most men waste on stress, rushing, or coffee on an empty, tense stomach, all of which can push cortisol even higher. For 3 years, I slept 3 feet away from my wife, and it felt like 300 miles. She'd fall asleep first. I'd lie there staring at the ceiling, wide awake, feeling like a roommate in my own marriage. I thought something was wrong with me. It wasn't weakness, and it wasn't just age. Here's what no one ever sits a man down to explain. This isn't about willpower. It's about specific systems in your body quietly losing steam year after year, while nobody tells you it's even happening. The pills my doctor handed me gave me headaches, made my chest feel tight, and honestly, they made me feel like I needed a pill just to feel like a man. I wasn't willing to live like that. There's a gentler way to bring those systems back, without any of that. At 83, my wife and I aren't roommates anymore. I'll show you exactly what changed it in this video, and if you want the simple support I personally use, there's a free presentation linked in the description below. So here's exactly what more men my age have started doing, and it's simpler than you'd expect. Fresh ginger, steeped in warm water in that first half hour after waking, before the rush, before the stress of the day gets its hooks into you. Ginger brings 2 things to that window. First, the compounds in fresh ginger appear to act directly on the smooth muscle lining your blood vessels, encouraging the relaxation response that lets blood move freely, which matters even more in a moment when your body's hormonal system is either going to support that flow or work against it. Second, and this is the part that's specific to timing, a calm, warm ritual first thing, instead of rushing straight into stress and screens, gives your nervous system a gentler entry into the day, rather than an adrenaline spike stacked directly on top of your natural cortisol surge. You're not fighting your body's morning chemistry. You're working with the window it already gives you, instead of working against it. I want to be honest with you about something, because I think it's the only reason this is worth your time. It's not the ginger alone doing all the work. It's the timing combined with the ginger. Drink the exact same cup at 3 in the afternoon, and you've missed the window that makes it matter the most. So here's the small system I built around that window, because one habit alone rarely carries the whole load. First, the ginger, first thing, before anything else touches my stomach. Second, I get outside within the first hour. Natural morning light appears to help regulate that same daily hormonal rhythm, keeping cortisol and testosterone working with each other instead of against each other. Third, I stopped checking my phone for the first 20 minutes after waking, because stress and urgency first thing is like pouring gasoline directly onto that cortisol spike you're already dealing with. And I need to say this clearly, because it matters here as much as anywhere else in this conversation. Talk to your doctor before making any of this a daily habit, especially if you're managing blood pressure or heart medication. Some natural compounds and routines can interact with prescriptions in ways only your own doctor can properly evaluate. Everything I'm telling you works alongside your treatment plan, never as a replacement for it. It also took longer than I expected to notice a real difference, closer to a month than a week. I bring that up because I don't want you trying this for 3 mornings and deciding it doesn't work. Your body's rhythms took years to settle into their current pattern, and they deserve more than a few days to respond to a new one. These days, my wife says she can tell within the first 10 minutes whether it's going to be a good Richard day, and lately, almost every day is one. I plan things in the morning now instead of deciding I'll see how I feel by noon. That shift, trusting the first hour of my day instead of dreading it, has done more for how I feel about myself than I expected a simple morning routine ever could. Let me tell you about Milton Vasquez. Milton's 79, a retired long-haul trucker out of Amarillo, Texas, who spent 4 decades waking up at irregular hours, sometimes 2 in the morning, sometimes noon, whatever the route demanded. So by the time he retired, his body's whole internal clock was, in his words, a mess nobody warned me about. A friend told him about drinking ginger first thing, tied to a consistent wake-up time, instead of whenever he happened to roll out of bed. 2 months in, Milton told me the surprise wasn't energy exactly. It was that he stopped feeling like his mornings were working against him for the first time in as long as he could remember. That's really the point of all this, more than the recipe. It was never really just age doing this to you. It's a hormonal window, opening and closing every single morning whether you use it or not. And most men have never once been told it exists, let alone how to work with it instead of against it. You deserve to understand what's actually happening in your own body in that first half hour, not just be told to expect less as you get older. That understanding, the cortisol, the testosterone rhythm, the blood flow response tied to both, is worth more than any 12-minute appointment ever gave you, because it's something you can actually act on tomorrow morning. Your erections don't disappear just because you got older. They fade when the systems behind them, blood flow, nitric oxide, hormones, energy, and recovery, slowly stop getting the support they need. Ignore that long enough, and it becomes harder to reverse. That's why I take this concentrated formula every morning. Not one ingredient trying to fix everything, but several working together to support circulation, energy, and drive from the inside out. It's a natural, doctor-backed protocol designed to support pathways your body already knows how to use. No prescription, nothing artificial. Stronger, present, confident again. And unlike the pills I tried, I didn't feel disconnected from my own body. No headaches, just steady, gradual change. My wife noticed before I even said a word. The presentation is linked right below this video. It won't replace your doctor or a healthy lifestyle. It's simply there to support your body. At 83, my wife and I aren't roommates anymore, and it's not too late for you. If mornings have felt like a fight for you lately, or if you've noticed your own body has better and worse windows during the day, tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more conversations like this, honest and straight to the point, go ahead and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.